Divided by the sea. We're divided by the
Good evening. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of council for May 16th, 2018 in the council chambers. And at this time, we're looking to confirm the agenda. Are there any emergent items from councillors? Councillor Montgomery.
Deborah, can you tell me if those admin inquiries will be added tonight? The ones. No, if you want to, yeah, like if you want to read out maybe just the one to do with the grants, that'd be great. But the other ones, yeah, we can just take as a whole.
Any other emergent items that might be coming up? Administration, do you have any additions other than before? Okay. So we're looking for a motion to confirm the agenda.
I will move that we accept the agenda as amended.
Thank you, Councillor Montgomery. You've all heard the motion. All in favor? The motion is carried. I don't believe we have any presentation. Oh, we do have a quick presentation from Mr. Thackeray, an introduction more than anything. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to ask Mark and Frida to come forward and just to introduce our new engineer.
Council, I'm pleased to present Frida Isaac, our infrastructure engineer. She worked with me previously at my last consultant company and has many years' experience and specializes in stormwater and asset management, and so capital planning. So that's her role. Frida.
Hi. Nice to meet
Welcome.
you.
I met you at a stormwater presentation, that's where I met you.
Probably, yes. Okay, that explains it.
Yeah, that is right.
Thank you, Mark, and welcome to staff and to the town of Strathmore. Item number 4, delegations. We have 4.1, Mr. Kent Repchin. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Yeah. Mr. Repchin and Ms. Coral Hallwis. Yeah. And it's a presentation delegation concerning Coral's coach. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It is an honor to be here up front of you guys today. We were approached, I think a couple of weeks ago, by one of your staff to see if we were interested in providing any type of transit system or any type of transportation system, I guess. So we did up a quick little draft that we could get through in 10 minutes. So, my personal experience with transportation businesses, I've been doing this pretty much my whole life. I took school resort management courses and stuff like that to get into tourism and stuff like that. Totally went a different way, but I've been driving school buses and charter buses for 10 plus years. I currently drive at Chestermere High and Route 8. So, but we've started up our own charter company, and it's actually doing fairly well. We are at the point right now where we could go either way with it. We could either go full on charter, or we could go into transit system quite easily, actually, for us to do that. We right now have a 27 passenger bus that I can actually take out a floating wall in the back and add more seats if need be. I would have to do some modifications to my air ride system, but that wouldn't take me long at all to be perfect for what we wanted to do. We would only be in the first get-go, our plans would be to basically run the one run with the bus and collect data, see where the people are needing transportation, see where it's a waste of money or time to even bother with that type of transportation. Run that for a few months, and then bring in either a second bus, split up routes, depending on what is determined from what we find. The basis is we'll get wheels on the ground and people moving is basically what we want to do. We can figure out of a lot of it. I actually brought the bus into town one day, and I did a few different routes about 10 times, so you probably saw the bus rolling around. So the map that I came up with, it's probably, I'm not sure if it's your one of your back pages there. My Where is Waldo map. So basically, we would, stop one would be considered down by Extra Foods. My ideal would be able to go actually through that parking lot, but I'm pretty sure that's private property and it would be more of a pain to be allowed to go through the mall itself. And plus at the McDonald's, that would be kind of a dangerous thing during the summer months and getting through there. So I just left it as we would have stop one by the Extra Foods. We'd go across Highway 1 up to the Co-op, kind of right where that entranceway is on the other side of the lights, kind of have a stop there. Turn left, first left, kind of come up between the Rona and the Walmarts, because there's a walkway through there. I was thinking of going up that center, right? Going up behind the park, but then when I did my second run, I went up there and I saw, oh, that's perfect. There's fire department, there's buildings on the sides, there's the park, so it will all work out perfectly. And then I shot up third, I think that's third there. Can't see it out here. And then I kind of did a loop back, came down second, and then it shot off where you can see it, where it'll shoot up off to the edge of town, and then back up. So what I'm trying to do is zigzag a little bit through town, catching everything that I possibly can. And then up by the hospital, I would go up in that back area, come back down around, and then you could do the hospital, the community center, and hit all those along the way. And then I have, going up further north, stop 16 there, would only be one stop. And that's kind of a, if it needs to be a stop up there type of thing. Some of the stops are kind of suggested more than they would be realistically set in stone. Of course, you know, for Heritage Days and stuff like that, we would definitely have a stop at the grounds. That's just a given. And I would also be interested in maybe talking with the golf course. We could even have one stop in there seasonal. You know, you let people kind of go in there. I've kind of modified it so we can expand and attract it. And then we'd come down and then over into Center Street and then right back through 4th, so anybody who got in that sector could get off. And then back over, I guess, over by the Ford dealership and back in that newer area there. My only thing is, yeah, I could, like, where 23 is over there, I could keep going up to 25 and then back down to 26. It's kind of a residential area, so I don't know a bus going through there is going to be the favorite thing. I could do a loop up at the end there, or not even bother, just put a stop there where people could walk down to, type of thing. And then I would follow along beside Highway 1A and kind of crisscross up into here into the RCMP. Kind of get it so people, yeah, I need to go to see the police, or I need to go see council, or I need to get some groceries. You know, jump on the bus, away you go. I've tried to make it so I split with one bus, basically did 2 routes with one bus. And for us, the way we've always been successful in business is start off totally small. We're not into being into debt, we're not at all. We own our equipment outright, and we did that on the task that we're gonna build a business, not build debt. So that's kind of where we go through, and we're very data oriented. I'm an IT computer guy, so, and she's an admin and the boss, so I gotta know what I'm doing. So lets me get away with spelling, but that's about it.
We also have, we have 3 vehicles. We
Yeah.
have the bus, the wheelchair van, and the Crown Victoria.
Yeah, so the plan was to run the bus, we would have our wheelchair access van kind of follow along just in case there was a wheelchair at one of the stops or something, you know, the van could come and pick them up. Other than that, we could use it as access vehicle, 100%. But we don't want, from personal experiences with wheelchair and trying to find a wheelchair access bus and trying to get a taxi at an affordable price that people can actually use the service is starting to get out of control in my mind. We have the means, we have the vehicle, and we want to do better for people than a business. Like this is more of a personal thing for us than it is coming at it as a full-blown, we're going to make $1 million out of this. This is what we want to contribute to a community because we have these resources to do this. So yeah, the access van to us is very important. We were happy to get it. We are actually thinking of bringing a couple low-riding access van buses in. And basically, if this is a go, we are already looking at access vans, the low-riders, kind of like the old city ones. Not big ones, just a couple little guys that anybody can get in and out of. And then our big bus that we would originally start this with, once we got other buses into play, we would start doing not charters, but doing a run to like Chestermere Lake, Langdon, loop back to here, go to Cross Iron Mall, you know, kind of make that one a new trip to kind of open up the community. Because as far as I'm concerned, Langdon, Chestermere, Strathmore, we're all a community. We all shop together, we all in some form work together. So I'd like to open that up a little bit more. For doing city runs and stuff like that, yeah, we've got our sedan. It'd be great to do a car service to Calgary for people, you know, stuff like that. And we want to set for our car service and for the wheelchair access one set price so people know what they're paying. So you get into the car, you're not like, oh, do I have enough money to make it to my spot? No, this is what you're paying within town. Doesn't matter how many, you know, let's go. And then that way, there's no guesswork into what you're paying, and it's fairly straight up. We also want to bring in senior citizens and low-income family, because that's hit personally with us both too. We'd love to be able to help people get to their first day of the job or get to the interview they need type of thing. So realistically, we want to help. And we also want to grow and employ. So it's not just mom and pop going to run, no, it would be probably instantly, I would say anywhere from 2 to 7 people right away. So, and that's pretty significant. And some of our buses right now actually drive with me, some of our drivers that would be coming with us, and they're all through
They all
this
have first aid and their certificates.
and not already. And they've been running with kids, so they can run with anybody.
And all of our vehicles are CVIP'd.
Yeah.
And they're fully insured.
Yeah, insured, permitted,
And there's an attachment to
Yeah.
show
so.
the certificate from the Alberta Transportation.
Yeah, we don't mess around with
No.
the vehicles at all. Insurance-wise, anything was actually the insurance company I used back in the day before people knew what drones were. I was doing drone insurance with it because I'm a commercial drone pilot. So they are they know who I am and type of the stuff I do. So insurance isn't even an issue. So yeah, that's basically what we'd like to put forth to council to consider. The financial aspects of it on rates and stuff like that. We could throw numbers, we could put numbers in here right now, but honestly, it's all up for discussion. We would all want to make money at this, and we would all want to succeed at this. This isn't like we want to come in and just make as much money as we can make and give you what you want, but no, we want to work as a partnership.
Plus, we guarantee lowest prices.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because we own our equipment right out. There's
Yeah.
no leasing, the insurance has been paid for a year.
Yeah, we've worked real hard to get what we have to where we have, so yeah, that's basically our,
Well, thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you for providing all the information too. Some questions from councilors. Councilor Peterson?
Thank you. I really appreciate the presentation and the opportunity you bring to the community. Have you spoken with the school divisions yet with regards to some of the transportation issues they're having?
I did spam them as well. No response yet.
Yeah. No response yet.
From some of the schools, we've gotten, like, not in Strathmore, but in the Rocky View community, yeah, we've done actually some charters for them and done some stuff with them, so So, but Strathmore was kind of where we were coming, because we do all our shopping here. We pretty much live here. We live
Fabulous.
on an acreage, so
Yeah.
we don't go to the city.
The reason I asked that question is that when we didn't have cab service anymore in Strathmore, when we didn't have taxi service, the school division, Golden Hill School Division, they voiced their concern around that, around not having that. So that would lead me to assume that they had some need also.
Oh, absolutely. Well,
relevant to that.
you're late to get your kid to school. You
Yeah,
have to drop
yeah.
them off at daycare. It's
Yeah,
huge, the
you
stress in the morning to get somewhere, and to be able to pick up the phone knowing there's somebody there to actually deal with the help, and that's the thing, is a lot of our drivers deal with kids on a day-to-day basis, know how to treat and be around them. And, do a daycare shuttle wouldn't be a problem,
I really appreciate that. And the only other thing I would say, when you speak about wanting to deliver service to, regarding seniors low income,
Absolutely.
that I'm convinced that our FCSS, our local family community support services, and the Wheatland Housing Management Body
Yeah.
would be more than interested in talking to you and
Yeah.
figuring out a way to partner effectively to meet that
Oh,
threshold
absolutely.
capacity for transporting.
and we can
And we'll
grow.
be cheaper than anybody else.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you, Councillor Peterson. Councillor Cox?
Thank you, Your Worship. So my question goes more to, like your route, I see that you put a lot of thought into it.
yeah,
So just as hopefully you'll be able to tell me,
yeah,
you dropped me off at number 2, I'm assuming is by the co-op
yeah.
there? How long before you come back to get me?
It would be full round trip, 45 minutes.
Okay.
And that's realistic, that's.
Maybe 47.
Yeah, but I actually did time, stop time, what we would do to build our times for doing normal routes, stop, how long it takes. It doesn't take long for people to get on and off a bus, realistically. So with stop times, people not at times, the average is 45 minutes,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Cox. Councillor Sobel?
Thank you, Your Worship.
Deputy Mayor Sobel,
That's-
sorry.
That's fine. Thank you very much for your presentation. Appreciate that. Appreciate the fact that you're going to be the lowest service in town.
That's what the boss always says.
While we're on that note, and I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, but council is authorized to influence and set actually rates. That's
Okay.
one of the powers we get from the Municipal Government Act.
Yeah.
And in spite of the fact that some people may think we were pretty hard on the old taxi companies, we've never done that.
Yeah.
Because our focus has always been on two things, safety and health. That's
Absolutely.
all we've, everything that this council has done has been focused on those two items. So I'm happy to see that that looks like, to me, that those are two of the items that you guys are also
Yeah,
very
those
interested in.
are
So
our
I'm-
key goals.
I'm very happy to see that.
Our staff have to have first aid, and they
Yeah.
have to have training and certificates.
Great,
Yeah.
thanks.
And a clean driver's abstract.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued with the bus, the anticipated bus service. Do you have are there any times that you've thought of
Well,
for
we
your
were
routes?
playing with early in the morning, like 6 in the morning to, we were thinking splitting up, running full on, but we like to scale it back at first.
Yeah,
And then we would do a couple days, it has to be in a consistent form too, so it makes it a little bit tricky, but you
Right.
could run it 6 in the morning till the rush till about 11. And then you can, or till 10, and then you take an hour break and then you can run a block through the afternoon.
sure.
And we could block it out just at the beginning while we're gauging, or we could run for 12 at 6 to 6 type of thing. But it's got to, I can already tell what would happen pretty rapidly for timings. We would probably end up going probably from 6 to 11 at the end of it, that's usually how it works out, so. But
Well,
until you get your routes down and until you get, your people down, it's always good to kind of save money and break it down a bit.
Yeah. I'm intrigued, and as you're a techie, I'm sure that your times and all of your information will be on your webpage.
Oh, yeah.
He's actually got an app.
I'm an app developer too, so.
And my only other comment would be, I get the impression that you're looking for council approval, of course, and I'm not going to speak for anybody else on council, but I don't feel that you need my approval. What you need their approval is
Yeah.
it's administration. This is an administration issue. There's regulations that we have in regards to what you have to do to
Yeah.
get your license. And all I will say as a councillor is that I hope that happens very
Yeah.
quickly,
Yeah.
because our people do need
Oh,
a
and
service.
we're ready to go.
We're ready to go tomorrow if you want.
Yeah, so
Well-
it's not even,
Let's have coffee.
yeah, right.
You've got an invitation from our
Right.
CAO, so I
Right.
expect you guys down here tomorrow morning. Thank
Okay,
you.
bring the bus.
And I'm available for coffee tomorrow morning,
Right, we can
too.
go for a drive.
Sure, that'd be awesome. Thank you, Councillor Bauer.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you very much for your proposal, Kent and Coral. I really am so excited that you put this together with so much thought and just really thinking about our community and where things are, like the extra foods, and people will be going
Oh,
to
yeah,
Walmart
absolutely.
and the high traffic areas
Yeah.
within our town, and so I applaud you for that. You said that it would be about 45 minutes to do
Yeah.
the loop, so that was already addressed. And I also would like to say that I really like your forward way of thinking, how Langdon, Chestermere, and Strathmore are connected.
Oh, we are.
And
It's-
yeah, that
it totally
connectivity
is.
piece is really important to bring to the
Yeah,
community.
yeah.
And the fact that we do travel between, we have people that do not have
Oh, there's family
transportation.
all around, and it's hard to get to see grandma somewhere if she's in
Especially for the
Chestermere.
seniors to get around, right?
Yeah, and low-income families. I've had friends that've never even seen outside their town before, so it's.
Have you had a
it's-
chance to take a look at our current bylaw, and are there any things within the bylaw that are preventing you from starting tomorrow, or any things
Not
within the
at
bylaw
all.
that you see as being problematic?
Your January 17th meeting, you had a constable on that actually went through the liabilities and stuff like that, and I already knew that, and I was like, see, like, it's just not even a concern with us, because we deal with it every day. We deal with people every day. We deal with the public. We deal with lots of seniors. Like, we did the class of 58 for the Peter Lougheed. We did there 2 weeks ago. We had 30 people in the bus that were from 58, and they were loving it and driving around. So we're used to all sorts of people and all sorts of situations, but those are our standards. So it really, your bylaw is our standards, so I don't see a difference.
And our bylaw was to address the vulnerable populations within our community that are needing public transportation. And I applaud you, and thank you very much for putting together this proposal, and I look forward to seeing you in our community.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Councillor Bauer. Are there any other comments or questions? I just wanted to echo my fellow councillors. This is this is like a breath of fresh air for us. That your timing is impeccable, and we've always wanted the local transportation companies to be successful, but they had to be successful within the bylaw to ensure that our riders have safe, clean, smoke-free vehicles.
just a given.
This looks really promising to me,
Yeah.
and so I'm looking forward to hear from administration as far as the
Absolutely.
next steps and when we can expect to see your vehicles around town.
All right, that sounds good to us.
We also don't have any logos on our
Yeah, right
vehicles
now,
right
all our
now.
vehicles, we run logo-free, like, they're unmarked, because a lot of our customers put their stuff on them. So
Then they take 'em
basically,
off.
we can put anything on them, and stuff like that, I already had the idea for the wheelchair bus to have the tree on the front of it, but.
Well, thank you very much for your presentation. We'll leave it in the hands of administration and yourselves to
Great.
get together, and we look forward to having you in our community.
Great,
It looks
thank you.
very, very promising. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Fix my glasses so I don't stab myself. Item 4.2, the 2018 United Way Strathmore Grant recipients. And this is Trent and Sharon? No, Sharon?
No,
Linda, sorry. Boy, I got them all wrong. Linda, welcome, and good evening.
Good evening, Your Worship and Council. I'm very excited to be here this evening to co-present the United Way Strathmore grant recipients. I have the pleasure of introducing Scott Mulick, who is the chair of the United Way Strathmore Partnership. And so Scott is going to talk a little bit, and then I'll finish off the presentation.
Good evening, thank you. So the United Way Strathmore partnership has been in the community for about 5 years, and 100% of the locally donated monies stays right in Strathmore. So we have some of our board members here today. So Darlene Knaus, Angie Boyd, Lorena Arsenault, and Tammy Sieben. So we had 11 organizations apply for funding and had to fit into 3 United Way priority areas: strong communities, successful kids, and overcoming poverty. Each area focuses on social inclusion, mental health, and quality of life. 2 groups did not fall into these guidelines, and they were referred to other agencies. As a board, we were able to meet the 9 organizations and the projects funded. Our Strathmore Wheatland Addictions team, slogan boards, and education sessions, bringing awareness to substance abuse and addiction prevention. The 5 for Life early childhood developments, funding expansion for physical development opportunities. The Strathmore Library Stories for Everyone, an off-site story time held at venues such as daycares and seniors facilities. Growing Families Bridging the Gap, senior programs such as the Community Lunch Club. Accredited supports to the community, which will be able to continue to provide in-home supports for families in the community. Growing Families, Growing Opportunities Life Skills Program, helping new moms learn life skills. Hope Bridges Society will be providing arts programs to help continue creating healthy connections between adults through art. Roots of Empathy, which is a program involved in 7 grade 5 classrooms in Strathmore, teaching kids empathy. And lastly, Wheatland Society of Arts, that offers an all-inclusive art program to all members of the community to experience the benefits of creating art. Thank you.
And so there's a representation from each organization here tonight. And so we were advised perhaps instead of handing the checks out individually or just to do a group photo, we would like to propose after the motion is set that if we could do a group photo with council, with the United Way and a representative of each organization.
So did you, sorry, Linda, did you want us to call them forward then? And we have to make the motion first, yeah. Thank you. So, looking for a motion. Councillor Deputy Mayor Sobel?
It's with pleasure, Your Worship. This is amazing work that you folks have done, and I'm happy to move that council approve the United Way Strathmore grants to the following organizations: Strathmore Wheatland Addictions Team, $5,000, 5 for Life Coalition, $5,900, Strathmore Municipal Library, $6,000, Growing Families Society Bridging the Gap, $6,000, Growing Families Society Growing Opportunities, $6,000, Hope Bridges Society for Creative and Continued Learning, $1,000, Accredited Supports Healthy Family, $6,000, Roots of Empathy, $6,500, and Wheatland Society of Arts, $6,500.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Sobel. You've all heard the motion. All in favor? And the motion is carried unanimously. Congratulations to those groups. So how did you want to bring them forward?
And so, Your Worship, what we propose is for council to come down, and then United Way representatives that are here to come up, and then one representative from each group that is here tonight to come up so we can take photos.
Sure, that would be fun.
Would that work, Linda?
Would that work would our photographers, would it work if we stayed here seated and then United Way was behind us as each group came forward?
Or even right next to it, they can.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Come on up. I like it.
Forward in all the groups, come on up. Please.
So it's just one representative from each one?
Yeah, one
Yeah,
representative.
great, yeah. Just want to make sure we have enough room.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, how are you? Good. Does that work?
Mike's down, Mike's down, Mike's down.
Yeah. Yes, yay.
something I said? Hello, Mayor Fuel and Strathmore Town Council. Can I just correct you? It's the Western District Historical Society. Okay. I think Deborah had provided you all with information regarding our historical app walking tour. We're kicking it off on Saturday, June the 9th.
Make them show their phones that they.
Yes. Speaking of which. You can't leave without downloading our app. It's on this spot. Okay, it's our historical walking tour. We have 3 tours within the town of Strathmore. 3? Mm-hmm. So yep. Lorraine, you get a gold star. Which one? She's also a society member, so she better have it. So I'll be really quick. We're having our kickoff on Saturday, June the 9th. We're encouraging people to download the app prior to it. It'll start, and if somebody comes along and doesn't have the app downloaded, there's a hotspot at the library. They just have to duck in to download the app, and then they can go on the walking tour. We are featuring 5 places just in the downtown 2nd Avenue that we'll be adding a little extra to. If you are on Facebook, Strathmore, Town of Strathmore posts, they're doing a Throwback Thursday. So they're promoting the history of Strathmore. They've asked us to provide them with, I think about 5 it was, before and afters and a little write-up. So I think the last one was, the first one, which was last week, was at the Strathmore station, and not the one on the highway, but where the original Strathmore station was, where people actually came to Strathmore via train. So you'll see the picture of then and what it looks like now. If everyone could look up from their phones, no. So we encourage the mayor and council to attend. So what you'll do is the first stop basically is at Strathmore Station. You'll hear a little history about that. Then we're going to go uptown to where the firewall was. Who all knows where the firewalls are on Main Street? Kind of interesting. Yeah, it saved our little town with those firewalls. And then we'll be walking up to the Union Bank, which is where the Strathmore Standard Shoe Shop is now. Then across the street to the old telephone building, where actually the old, I shouldn't say old operators, but back in the olden days they had actually, you wanted to phone, Lorraine wanted to phone Bob. The operator would say, just a moment, and she'd plug it in. So hopefully we'll get that building open, but we're going to have old-fashioned telephones. And then up to the Legion. And you can go in, tour around there. They've got lots of history on their walls there. And I think they'll be quite pleased to see everyone. And then we're hosting a barbecue out at Bruce Kleiber's Historic Barn. They'll run from about 12 to 1:30. It's we're still toying with the idea, but we're going to limit it to maybe 100 people because we just don't know. But we encourage people that have gone on the tour to come out and view the barn. We were out there last night. We planted a beautiful, well, it's not beautiful yet, sunflower field. It's going to be stunning when they're all up. So we were hoeing and dropping and watering and covering. So it'd be kind of neat because there used to be a sunflower field kind of in that same proximity back when it was the demonstration farm. So we'd encourage you to come out to the barn and have a bite to eat with us. And the town of Strathmore people have been really helpful with kicking this tour off. The Main Street will be closed down for those 3 hours. And, yeah, I guess that's all really I have to say. And hope for nice sunny weather.
Yes.
Thank you for your presentation. It sounds very interesting, and I promise I'll get the app put on my phone before then. Councillor Peterson will shame me into it.
I just give her your phone, she just.
Your Worship, I want to usurp Councillor Bauer's microphone. And I just want to say that when you download the app, it's really great to see the towns and cities that are on there. You see Vancouver,
Nanaimo.
Esquimalt, Strathmore, and Gleason. And the creator of this app has currently, the University of Victoria is currently using the app to do a course, and they've utilized Strathmore as their central because they said, because there are 3 tours within it, and it's been very useful. They've actually used the app to teach the program at the university, and it's really brought a lot of attention to the community. And I think we have about 800 and some downloads right now of the app so far. We've had schools from outlying communities come to do the app as part of their social studies curriculum program into the community. And we have many other communities throughout our region who've asked to join the app 2 hours so that they can build it into their tourism
Being all
and
under the same
under the
umbrella.
same umbrella. So Rhonda and the Western District have done a great job of promoting this, and so this will be the hard launch, and we're really looking forward to it. But I just want to say that this particular app is now being developed for countries, or for cities, major cities across Canada, and I think he's also right now doing San Francisco.
Yeah, he's down in the States. We've been texting this
Yeah,
afternoon.
Yeah.
So it's pretty
So
pretty
we're in
exciting.
good company,
And
and it is
Edmonton,
exciting.
I've
Yeah.
gotten calls from, Lacombe.
Yeah.
I've gotten calls from different areas saying what was our experience, and I told Andrew that he better give our society a kickback because I give them great reviews. Also, another thing is Bruce Kleiber, we're building he's got a flat deck trailer which we're putting benches on, and we're going to invite some seniors to just ride up and down Main Street. And the Golden Hills are lending us 10 iPads that the seniors can actually hold in their lap, because probably a lot of them don't have the smartphones and stuff, but they can get the experience of it. And so that's about it. So we encourage lots to come out that day and see what it's all about.
Thank you, Councillor Peterson. Councillor Bauer?
Thank you, Your Worship. Rhonda, I just wanted to commend you and your board on your time and energy that you've spent developing this app with Andrew in BC, and being one of the first in Alberta to the first in
We are
Alberta
the first,
to launch this app and bring it on so that people can see and hear it and feel it and be a part of it and be a part of the history. And I also think that what you're doing down at the barn is really significant in bringing the sunflowers out, and I heard that you're going to be marketing the sunflowers perhaps in the fall, that
Well, we
there
were
might be a
planting-
fundraising opportunity.
Well, we were planting last night and we're bending over, and somebody said, so what are we going to do when these grow? And we go, we don't know. So, maybe we'll just open up to the public for a donation. Come and cut down, take a bunch of sunflowers home with you. But
And can
it's
you just again reiterate the times that this is happening on June 9th,
it's
please?
June the 9th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
And then
And
lastly, I just wanted to say that the Canadian Badlands Association was quite interested in this app. What was some
Yeah.
of the feedback that you received from your presentation?
they were very interested. Actually, they're going to come up for the opening. Alberta Tourism is coming down from Edmonton. And maybe Alberta Health Services, because they want to promote the walking app into their fitness program and things like that, so.
Well, I thank you for putting Strathmore on the map once
Oh.
again.
Well, thanks to Denise, she was out in Vancouver and stumbled across it and brought it. brought it back to our group and said, hey, this is something that we should look into. So poor Andrew came out. It was 2 Novembers ago, coming from Vancouver with just a hoodie on. Here it was cold, it was cold, and he's up walking around this, because he had to go to each spot and get a now picture, right? Because he had the then pictures, and he went and tried to, he had the
The GPS coordinates.
the coordinates to take it for what it is now. So he got, when the app first came out, it was all in winter. So Tom Sadler and myself went around Strathmore and out to Gleason and took the picture of when it was green and the leaves were budding out. So it looks a little bit more attractive, so.
We're also going to expand it. So I think it's really important to talk about the economic development capacity that this app has. So if you go to the Strathmore at War site and you see the picture of the Union Bank, currently Strathmore or Standard Shoes, very soon there'll be a process rolled out where when you're standing on that spot, if you allow the app to access your location, coupons can pop up from the store so that people can go in. Likewise with restaurants around the community. There's an application on the app, there's a camera where you can situate yourself in the picture in the then or on this spot. Not too far from Councillor Montgomery's house was the one of the original resettlement buildings. So when people came in and they needed to stay and they needed to process through the immigration, there was a great big huge resettlement building on just off Waddy Lane and the Legion, and so there's lots of really great stuff about our community on this app.
To speak to that really quickly, Andrew just texted me this afternoon, we're launching the business advertiser subscription system and the store, a lot of user interface change, and also making postcard. So he wants to speak to me on that, and yeah, and then Tim, if anybody buys postcards, donate so much of the revenue back to WDHS, so. Yeah.
Perfect. It's a great opportunity for our chamber to get involved
Yeah.
in promoting downtown business. Thank you.
Thank you
Okay.
for that, Councillor Peterson. And Councillor Cox.
I just had, thank you, Rhonda. And I want to give my sadness that you picked a day that is graduation for my daughter. So I won't be in attendance. Very, very sad, because I would be all over this in a heartbeat.
Well, being a native, Strathmore on.
That's right.
Is that me?
We
Yeah.
do expect her to join the WDHS any day now.
And why we chose that time, it's right at the end of Seniors Week, so we're working with the seniors, trying to
Yeah,
fit
no,
it
I
all
understand you
together.
can't change the whole thing for just me, but thank you. Sorry I won't be there, but, too bad. Maybe I'll try and integrate some grad photos into.
Yeah, get her up on the, but I want to thank Chuck Proctor and Lauren, however you say her name. They've been really great, and Carla Couts. And Ty, I haven't met Ty, just talked to him on the phone, but they've been really great helping us, because we are such a small group that we really appreciate the assistance of the Strathmore group. So, okay.
Thank you for your presentation, and we wish you all the best. I'd like to echo my councillors' points of view. Just really excited about the blending of the modern touches like the app with discovering and learning about the past and the history. So this is really good, and I hope to be there for that. And
done.
Councillor Peterson will get my phone ready. Is Councillor Peterson's house on the tour?
No,
Sorry.
no.
Oh,
Next phase. Also, we did it for the grade twos back, when was that? Last year, and it went really well. We took them all over town. We expand, there's more places to see, but we thought we would just leave it to 2nd Avenue and then let people go on their own. But it was a great day.
well, this is great. It's another example of Strathmore thinking outside the box and doing something different and being on the cutting edge, too. We're
Yeah.
trying to do that. So
Yeah.
congratulations, and we wish you well.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys all on the 9th, except Terry. Does everybody know he's got a coal chute outside his Wheatland lock? Yeah. Just these little things you find out about it. Thank you, Rhonda. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
So we'll move on to item 5, the confirmation of minutes of the May 2nd, 2018 regular council meeting.
So move, your worship.
Thank
I think
you.
there's an error in Patrick's spelling of his name right at the very screen. I might be wrong, I was just.
His last name underneath staff there, M-A-C-K.
Yeah, that was the only thing I saw.
Okay. So you've all heard the motion with that correction. All in favor? And the motion is carried. I believe we have no tabled items, and it comes to items from administration. 7.1 Alberta Seniors Week, page 17. Welcome back.
As you are aware, seniors make a difference in our community every day. Alberta Seniors Week is a way to recognize, acknowledge, and celebrate our seniors. Strathmore has a very impressive week planned, and the schedule of events in a draft brochure has been provided for your reference. And so I'm just here to answer any questions and to see if council would be open to declaring June 3rd to 8th as Alberta Seniors Week in Strathmore.
I would be honored to declare. It's tough to get out. All right, fine. I move the council declare June 3rd, 8th, 2018 as Alberta Seniors Week in Strathmore.
Thank you, Councilor Montgomery. I'm proud of you. All in favor? And that motion is carried unanimously. Thank you, Linda. And thanks for your patience, Councilor Montgomery. We couldn't resist. Item 7.2, the 3rd Avenue update, which is found on page 19 of your schedules, your agendas.
Your worship.
Oh,
Just before,
Deputy Mayor
I'm sorry,
Silva.
I should have made a comment on the last thing. I just want to thank administration. This brochure here, what do they call this? Poster, that's the word. This poster is amazing. There's great information. I just like it's big letters and there's a wealth of information. So really good job on that. I think that's, I don't think I've seen that before. I think this is new and I really appreciate it. So thank you.
And just to comment more on that, in your package, you'll see the large collaboration of organizations
Yes.
that have come together with
yeah.
Darlene, the FCSS programmer, leading that coordination to make that happen.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you.
Would it
Thank
be
you.
prudent at this point to list some of the partners that have partnered with FCSS? I could do that.
Yes.
Strathmore FCSS, along with our community partners at Wheatland Society of Arts, Strathmore Seniors Advisory Committee, the Alliance Church, Happy Gang, Strathmore Library, Hope Bridges Society, Growing Families Society, Western District Historical Society, the Strathmore Legion, the Heal Coalition, Strathmore Fire Department, and the Strathmore Aquatic Centre will be hosting a wide variety of senior-friendly events, celebrations, and workshops. Thank you.
Thank you for that addition, Councillor Bauer. And once again, on behalf of council, thank you for all your work and your staff's work in putting this all together.
Thank you.
Which brings us to Mark, who's giving us an update on the 3rd Avenue upgrades.
Thank you, Your Worship and Council. Tonight, on behalf of Infrastructure Development and Operations, I'm pleased to bring forward a request for decision relating to the 3rd Avenue upgrade. Council approved a $1.2 million budget for the 3rd Avenue upgrade project in 2018 capital budget after the successful completion of our 2nd Avenue project last year. In early 2018, we presented to council some concepts for discussion. Through those discussions at the Committee of the Whole, council directed administration to get additional input from our stakeholders. So we engaged our stakeholders through various mechanisms, through open houses, online service, meetings with the 3rd Avenue business information and public engagement booths at supermarkets, etc. Once all the data was collected, the information was then summarized and presented at the March 14th Committee of the Whole meeting. The information was also passed along to our engineering consultants and EXP Global Inc. The Infrastructure and Development and Operations Department, along with EXP, incorporated many of the comments as possible into the revised draft. The engagement with council and the public resulted in the following improvements over the original 2nd Avenue area concept for the 3rd Avenue. Wheelchair accessibility on 3rd Avenue, sorry for me. That. Changes to the requirement for our contract to minimize the impact to our business owners. A 15% increase in the trees and 4 additional landscape areas. Parallel parking with different arrangement of bump outs and trees between 2nd Street and 3rd Street. Moving the angle parking from the north side to the south side between Lakeside Boulevard and 2nd Street. Widening of certain sidewalks, which would be conducive to pedestrian comfort while walking. Maintaining driveway access. Originally, we had some that we were planning to close. We did not. Fiber optic content for future fiber optic lines. These were just a few of the items that were addressed during our design. A construction RFP, request for proposal, was then proposed on APC on April the 18th, 2018, which closed yesterday at 2 p.m. 5 bids were received and evaluated with prices ranging from $1.240,166 to $1.570,859.58, or no, can't do that again, million, sorry. With the average cost being about 1.444 million. 2 of the bids were found to have minor mathematical errors. However, this did not affect the overall results. Based on the evaluation process and confirmation of the tender submission requirements, our consultant recommends that the town proceed with the award of the tender to Bluebird Contracted Services Limited. The estimate total cost of the project based on the recommended is as followed. 121,000, well, I'll just go to the total cost of the project would be 1,561,866. Currently approved budget in the 2008 capital budget for 3rd Street is only $1.2 million. Based on the total project budget, an additional $362,000 of funding is required prior to award of this contract. Administration completed a review comparing the original budget scopes against the tender design to identify where cost increases occurred. The site preparation and surface work costs were approximately 8% more than 2nd Avenue, which is likely due to the number of driveway accesses. We have to put rebar into those accesses versus 2nd Avenue. Landscape costs were approximately 37 over 2,000 over the 2nd Avenue. Landscape design for 3rd included that 15% more trees, 4 additional landscaping areas, and contracting inflation prices. However, the most significant increase of the cost was from our electrical and lighting installation, which increased over by more than 200%. The council approved, so the options we're presenting tonight for council is the council can approve the 3rd Avenue with a $1.563 million budget, with the additional $386,000 being drawn from the financial stabilization and authorize administration to award the tenders to Bluebird Construction Limited, or cancel the project and postpone the project to APC next year. Our recommendation is to award the contract to Bluebird and transfer the money from if available. I mean, it's council's decision, obviously, about money. I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mark. Deputy Mayor Sobel.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Mark. So just a question in regards to the electrical and light installation costs that increased by $200,000.
200%.
200%.
200%. Sorry, 200%. So the present estimate for that is 100,000?
No, well, there's 2 parts. The contractor actually installs the electrical wires and the bases, and Fortis supplies the actual lights.
Oh, okay.
And that. So the Fortis, last year, they delivered it. That was the last thing that we installed on 2nd Avenue, and we didn't actually get the invoice or the bill for it until early 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And it was about $100,000 for the lights. And we have about the same amount of lights, right?
Do you have any idea why there's such a...
I was shocked, when I went through the actual individual little numbers there, we were about $60,000 for the installation last year, and we're at 130,000 roughly, and all the bids were in that 100 to 150,000 for the electrical. So I don't know where the additional cost. Maybe it is that we don't have the underground this year. We had the stormwater which may have hid some of the cost because we had it already opened up, and so that might have, that could be one of the reasons, because you already have the heavy equipment for that, so.
Okay, my next question is, on the motion that's presented, I'm unclear as to what this means. I assume you're saying of the 1.5 million, $362,000 is to be drawn from financial stabilization.
Correct. The original 1.2 million is from our gas tax grant. So that's funded 100% by our gas tax grant. Unfortunately, there is no more additional funds this year to draw off the gas tax.
So should this not be separated then with 1.2 whatever from the gas tax and 362 from, yep.
If I may, through the chair, your worship, I was just following your train of thought, and I was just reading this just now. And I concur with your position. I think it would be cleaner to break it up into two. One is the additional budget. We've already approved a budget, and then the subsequent motion to award to the preferred contractor.
Right.
So that would be.
So it's 1.2, not to exceed 1.5. I just starting to catch on what's going on here, but it is not very clean. 1.2 of which is already approved.
Yes, we're just approving the subsequent.
Additional.
And my last is a comment in regards to whether we should approve this or not. I do know that, I think a lot of our business owners and managers on Third Avenue are already made some contingency plans to deal with this. I don't think anybody wants this as a business person, but they also understand that it's something that will enhance our downtown area, and I think they've made some preparation. So I would be concerned with putting this off for another year. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Sobel. Councillor Montgomery.
Thank you, Worship. How much was the Second Avenue altogether?
About 1.9 million, roughly. It can be up and down on that. I don't know if that may be around 2 million, depending on the lights. That included a storm sewer, which I believe was about, at the end, about 800,000, 700, 800,000. I can't have those numbers right in front of me.
Okay.
So it's...
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Montgomery. Councillor Bauer.
Thank you, Your Worship. Hi, Mark. Thank you for your report. I was taking a look at this and wondering, is the Bluebird Contracting Services the same contracting services that did Second Avenue?
No, they are not. The Bluebird was the ones that did Waddy Lane. So they're right in front of your old there. We had, so they did Waddy Lane and the overlays on Brent Boulevard the previous year. We did on this process, it wasn't a strict money tender. It was a request for proposal. We put 75% of the points into price, but we did have qualifications. And through that process, Bluebird, with their price and their qualifications, still were the preferred bidder on this one.
Even with the concession that the other company would have had
Higher.
More of a understanding of what to do and try to keep it equal?
Yeah, and so that's where
still went
that
out.
process was. We did take that into account on that, because we did, we believe that the contract last year did a really good job, and we also believe that they learned a lot from that. So, but we did put, again, a RFP process versus a strict tender price one, but we still want to keep a a fairly high percentage on price due to it's a contracting business.
That would be my only reservation, is that there's a lot to be learned by doing that process already once, and maybe perhaps those things that were learned, those takeaways are not, well, I'm sure that you will somehow forward them to Bluebird.
Yes, we will.
Yeah. And then the other thing, with the concern with the lights, is there a possibility that that could have been because of rebates put forward by the government last year?
No, this is the actual installation of the underground, the cables. I believe copper price has gone up. The economy has picked up. And there's also the provincial government has just recently dumped the 2 years of the MSI granting, which the contractors are aware of, right?
Okay. I'm very pleased with the process that you did with talking to the Third Avenue business owners, finding what they wanted as improvements, and the wheelchair accessibility on Third Avenue as well. So I'm prepared to accept this proposal.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bauer. Councillor Montgomery, just before I go to you, I just have a question for administration, Mr. Thackeray, if you're able to answer this. If we do have to go into financial stabilization for $362,000, can you tell us roughly how much is in there at this time? That seems like a pretty big hit from, really?
That's inclusive of committed or restricted and non-restricted. The non-restricted, I believe, is somewhere around 4 point something million, between 4 and 5. I'd have to double check my numbers, I'm sorry.
Would you mind just to help me as well as,
There is.
yeah, as well as our new councillors, if you could just differentiate between the two in that?
So non-restricted surplus is money that has no strings attached. There's no commitments, there's no grants, there's no government requirements because of this, because it's carry forward, say, grant money like MSI has terms and conditions to it. If we don't use it in a year, there's always restrictions on what we can use it for and what we can't use it for. So and then we have unrestricted surplus, which there's no strings attached there, other than how we wish to apply the surplus.
Thank you. Councillor Montgomery and then Deputy Mayor Sobel.
Thank you. So I now that I think about the construction on Waddy Lane, I recall that there was a period where Bluebird was experiencing some sort of an issue where they weren't kind of on-site working for some time. Are we going to be building something into the contract that will stipulate that they have to have it done within a certain amount of time?
Absolutely. We have liquidated damages, I believe, at $2,500 a day.
Okay.
On this, the intent is to have this be completed before Heritage Days. That's I apologize for bringing this with such short notice to you. We closed it yesterday. I would have loved to give you some more headroom on this other than 5 minutes before the council. So I do apologize for bringing it quickly. But yeah, they did have some problems. We will be reiterating their issues that they hit. Last time they hit a power line, and so they had some issues with some safety issues that we will make sure that are front and safe
Okay.
on this one.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Montgomery. Deputy Mayor Sobel.
Ready with a motion, Your Worship.
Thank you.
Unless there's other questions, then I see somebody's light on.
Oh, Councillor Cox.
Just clarification. Is Bluebird contracting, were they the lowest?
They were the lowest.
My heart doesn't sit heavy with this.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that council approve Third Avenue upgrade project for an amount not to exceed $1,562,000. $1.2 million of that amount has already been approved by this council with funds coming from the gas tax. The additional $362,000 is to be drawn from financial stabilization, and administration is authorized to award the tender to Bluebird Contracting Services Limited for the total amount of $1,240,166 plus GST.
Thank you. You've all heard the motion. Any discussion, any more discussion on the motion? All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Motion is carried. And that brings us to item 8, committee reports. Do we have any tonight? Deputy Mayor Sol?
Yes, Your Worship, just, I'm not sure if the minutes from yesterday's transportation or traffic committee have been put on. I don't believe they're online yet. But at any rate, I just want, they will be, the minutes in a future meeting, but there was one comment that I just wanted to make in regards to that, and the committee did meet yesterday, and this is in regards to the Alberta Traffic Safety Fund program, which is entitled the Keep Our Youth Safe project, and this will involve an enhancement of signage and a number of ways to make our crosswalks more visible in the school zones and the playground zones for all of our community. Came as a result of that Traffic Safety Fund grant being approved. It's an exciting project, and the information I want to pass on is that the committee is intent on dealing with this with a fairly intense educational process in the fall, which will involve which will focus on the grade 1 students in our community, and they will be visited, and a discussion will take place with the RCMP, our local bylaw officers, and possibly members of the committee, enforcing the reasons why we've gone to these steps. So I just wanted to pass that on to council, that there is a process in place for education and to determine the success of this program.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Sobel. Councillor Peterson.
I have a related question. I read this with great interest, and I'm really enthusiastic about it. I think it's wonderful, and it's good that we have this traffic commission to be able to fold it in. But one of the other things that I was wondering just in relation to the traffic commission, living in the downtown, I have noticed that with the advent of the narrowing or the bump outs on Second, that the traffic is so much slower. So is that then across the board, that when you narrow your streets, that your traffic slows down? Your experience in policing would tell you.
Well, certainly, and that was one of the intent, that there's historical information, and that goes to exactly that point. It does slow traffic down. So, and I'm glad it's being successful. In fact, I would take that one step further. I've heard a lot of the same comments in regards to our very early pilot project on Center Street and Cambridge Glen, which we haven't done bump outs, but we've lowered the speed to 40, and I've heard a lot of comments in regards to the slowing of speed. So there's a number of different ways to slow speed down, but certainly what was done in our downtown is exactly what it was intended to do.
So relevant to that, Councillor Silva, my question, I guess, is would the Traffic Commission consider making recommendations around to future planning and development in area structure plans with regards to narrowing streets, especially, in family neighborhoods?
Yeah, exactly. There's pros and cons. I mean, if you take Cambridge Glen, the road is narrow. Center Street is a little bit more narrow, and where the problem comes there is the amount of vehicles that you have parked on there as well. So there's different methods to be used. But one of the benefits that we have with this traffic committee is that we do have members of planning. We have some senior staff on that committee who are there diligently and faithfully, and I think it's a learning process for all of us. We've had representations from Alberta Transportation who, by the way, are just absolutely enthralled with our community and the efforts we're doing to keep our youth safe. So it's a great opportunity for everybody in there and administration to use this as a learning process as well.
Thank you, councillors. Councillor Montgomery and then Councillor Bauer.
If you would indulge me, I just have a question for Mark about this previous subject. So if you want to come back to me, that'd be totally fine.
Sure, why don't we just finish off our council reports and then we'll come back to your question. Councillor Bauer.
I just wanted to piggyback on Councillor Peterson's comments and say that it's not necessarily the narrowing of the streets, but perhaps the widening of the sidewalks. Because I find that with the widening of the sidewalks downtown, that they see the people, they're more visible, and it seems to be slowing people down. I would like to see a recommendation that new developers in this, the new developments area, focus on widening our sidewalks. Because right now, typically, most of the older neighborhoods in Strathmore that you are starting to walk down, the sidewalks are becoming narrower and narrower because of foliage and other things blocking your path. And so that's something definitely that I would like to see considered in the future. But I like the way of thinking.
Thank you, Councillor Bauer. And if I can just make a quick comment on my own committee meeting. I went to the CMRB, or Calgary Metropolitan Regional Board. All right. Anyway, I went to the servicing meeting. It's a special committee meeting to deal just strictly with servicing. Basically, the meeting was a long discussion, a lot of brainstorming on issues that are specific to our own municipalities, but also ones that impact the region. So for some of the things we discussed policing and the Strathmore situation as far as the watch clerk involving the Wheatland County and Rocky View. So we talked about that. I also raised some one of the situations we face, which is the traffic flow on Highway number 1 and how we're eventually facing the bypass situation around Strathmore. We talked about the traffic flow as well as the decrease in speed to 80 kilometers at the Chestram area, just showing that traffic flow is impacting 2 areas within the region near Calgary. So those were the things we discussed there. It was basically a lot of brainstorming that afternoon. We're still very early in the formation of this subcommittee, which brings us to a discussion on the CMRB. I think this would be a good time. There is one more subcommittee, and I believe council knows that, or remembers that I emailed you all. It's just to see with your schedules in case anyone was interested in joining the subcommittee that deals with land use. So is anyone, I think Councillor Peterson?
I would move that Councillor Sobel be appointed by council to sit on this board, and that Councillor Montgomery be the backup to this.
Thank you for
they're
that.
both in agreement, I don't know.
Thank you for that motion, and just for clarification, the meetings are typically in the daytime. These land use meetings go from 9 to noon, normally at Mount Royal University. So if everyone is okay with that motion, does anyone else want to put their name forward? So not seeing anything, then we have a motion on the floor.
I just have a question.
Sure.
We're only allowed one, right?
Yes.
But my understanding is that more than one person can go.
I believe, and in fact, the CAO has gone on
encouraged it.
occasions too.
And that's why I just think, Council Montgomery has shown considerable adeptness in this area, and I think it'd be, really great to have both for the sake of our council and our community.
Thank you for that, Councillor Peterson. So the motion on the table involves Deputy Mayor Sobel being the member of the CMRB Land Use Committee, and with Councillor Montgomery as the alternate. Yes.
Just a comment. These meetings are open to the public, so anybody can attend, and anyone is encouraged, especially from council or administration, is encouraged to attend. But there's sometimes an in-camera session, which rules are a little different, of course, but generally the meetings are open to the public.
Thank you. So you've all heard the motion on the floor. All in favor? And the motion is carried unanimously. The last little report I wanted to make today, and Councillor Sobel or Deputy Mayor Sobel can weigh in on this. We had a brief coffee meeting with the acting staff sergeant at the RCMP, as well as some members, as well as office staff, as well as watch clerks. And so we discussed a lot of the issues that are facing this detachment. I know this is going to be seen as a pun or a running joke, but we did bring donuts to the police station. They seemed quite happy. We did bring the healthy alternative of muffins too, but they really liked the donuts. Who knew? So we discussed the Watch Clerk program and its success, and the members are very, very happy with how it's gone. It's been able to free up the members to do their policing, to get out on the road a lot more. We're very, very happy, and we're very happy to announce that Wheatland County is going to be funding a third Watch Clerk. So that will help a great deal as far as freeing the members up to patrol more, and we appreciate them doing that. It also will be causing me to contact the Rocky View County Reeve to talk about Rocky View coming on board and hopefully funding the fourth watch clerk, and that will provide a watch clerk for each of the shifts, each of the watches. So that will really help. So that'll be happening in the next little while. Then we talked about the upcoming cannabis legislation and the enforcement challenges they face with that. We also discussed the physical building and how it is obviously in need of some work, and they've talked about how they've basically outgrown the building and how it's a federal issue. We discussed that. And I believe the last thing we discussed, I believe that's it. Did I miss anything? So yeah, it was a really good meeting, and in fact, they would like to have it as a more regular one. So I think we're planning to try to meet on a more regular basis, just to keep the communication channels open. So those are the two things that I wanted to report on. And are there any other committee reports? If not, then Councillor Montgomery, you're free to ask your question of Mark from Infrastructure.
Sorry, I didn't kind of pick up on this earlier. So which of these figures, I guess, includes GST at this point? Like, does the engineering include GST, or, like, I guess, because my question, or I guess my point would be that just the GST on the construction alone is about 62,000, and then, the other ones are another 12 or so. So is that what the contingency is for, and is that contingency big enough, or? James?
So if
Mr.
I
Thackeray?
may, we get the GST back, so it's a wash.
Okay,
So
so
it
when
is
we say
not-
like we're not gonna exceed 1.562, that means like by the time we get the GST back, is what you're saying? Okay.
It just when I award the contract, we asked them to supply us without GST and then GST and then the total with GST. The GST, when we pay their invoices, obviously they charge us GST. We pay that and we get, like James says, we get that back. So it's a wash on the project. In the cash flow, Mel deals with that, so we're okay.
Okay, yeah, because I just know, like, there's like $134 left over in the budget, so I was like, oh, where's the GST coming from? So, okay, thank you.
I just rounded up so we don't have to say all those in small digits all the time.
Thank you, Councillor Montgomery, and thank you, Mark and Mr. Thackeray. That brings it to items directly related to council. Are there anything there? Number 10 is bylaws. I don't believe we have anything there. 11, we had no urgent business, which brings us to number 12, questions between councillors and council statements. That sounds good too. And item 13 is administrative inquiries, and we have one hot off the press, I believe. Deborah, do you have these?
I do. So the first one is from Councillor Montgomery. And his question is, can we look into obtaining grants related to senior and/or general community fitness for some outdoor fitness equipment outside the library or Lambert Centre? The next inquiry is from Councillor Sobel. The vast majority of inquiries I have received from constituents in regards to the school end of things deals with how their children will get to school. He's referring to the George Freeman School. As we now are 4 months away from completion of this project, he is wondering when council will be afforded an opportunity to see what the future traffic issues and solutions are forthcoming in this area. The next one is from Councillor Sobel. The interior of the Civic Centre continues to improve and impress. Administration is thanked for their efforts. However, the hall that is used for galas and weddings and other events which normally see attendees dressed in their finest, unfortunately the sinks in the washrooms for this facility have a very old style water dispenser system in the sink area, one that is more conducive to a playground. Once again, at the recent hospice gala, patrons were splashed with water because of this rather outdated plumbing system. I'm inquiring whether replacement of these sinks is in the forecast? And if so, when can this be expected? The next inquiry is from Councillor Peterson. It's regarding the sidewalks between 4th and 5th Avenue on 2nd Street on the west side. In this block, the north 1/3 and south 1/3 of the sidewalk was completed, but not the middle. This seems to be counterintuitive, and I am wondering if this is standard practice. And the second inquiry from Councillor Peterson is, could administration provide council with the costs for street cleaning, all in, including?
Sorry, street sweeping.
Okay. Including all in, equipment repair, brushes, and employment costs. And that's it.
Your worship?
Thank you. Councillor Peterson.
If I could be allowed to speak to one of Councillor Montgomery's admin inquiries, the New Horizons Seniors Benefit Program has a call out for a grant right now, the New Horizons grant, with opportunity for up to $25,000. Seniors Advisory is not allowed to apply for that grant because of the kind of entity that they are, but there are many other community groups. So the Happy Gang could apply, FCSS could support one of their associate groups to apply. There are lots of agencies that could apply on behalf of seniors. The Happy Gang is probably the best one, and they could apply for that grant, and it is in up to $25,000. And the deadline, I believe, is June 15th, but they often have more than one call a year.
Okay, well, and I do appreciate your advice, and I actually did take your advice, and I contacted Linda, and so she passed me on to Tracy, who asked me to submit the admin inquiry, so that they could kind of pick it up and run with it. So I did follow your advice. Thank you.
Thanks, councillors. Mark, did you want to address one of the inquiries?
Yes, I would. I'd like to address Mr. Sobel's question regarding when will we be bringing information around the traffic around the new school? It will be in the first meeting in June. We missed this meeting just. So we have 99% of the work done. We just need to print it. So we will be presenting it in June, including the pathways, a look at the actual road and how the intersection the traffic signals, all that. We'll bring that all together. But the main focus will be on the pathways and how that will connect all the existing communities.
Thank you for that clarification too, Mark. And it's one of the questions, this issue of Deputy Mayor Sobel's is one that's actually driving the enrollment numbers. They're trying to figure out enrollment, and some parents are actually hesitating at this time to enroll in George Freeman because they're just not sure yet how their children are going to access and get to that school across George Freeman. So this will be timely if you can get that information out as soon as possible. Councillor Peterson.
So relevant to this too, and I know it's not in the town's purview, but one of the things that when I attended open house and talking to parents, there is a lot of concern, and I don't know the veracity of it. I don't know what's true and what's not, but it is with regards to Golden Hills proposals around busing, that students may have to. So if you're a student in Crowther or Wheatland Elementary, and you're continuing to go to those schools, that there will have to be bus switches at George Freeman School. And this is creating great concern again. So might be some wisdom in doing joint presentations. I don't know whether there is or not, but I just know in light of what Mayor Fuel has just said, these are concerns that are very real to parents.
Thank you for that, Councillor Peterson. Jim, did you want to weigh in?
Just on Your Worship, to Councillor Peterson with regards to the street sweeping. Are you looking for, it would be hard for us to give you those numbers for 2018 because.
So here's what I'm asking, and I should have been more clear, but I was in a rush. What I would like to see for council is once this session is finished, so I know that we street sweep more than once a year, but say costs up to the end of June, perhaps.
Sure, and that's what I was asking.
And then what I intend to do with that is to go back 3 or 4 years and take a look at comparative costs.
So we would do from January, well.
You pick. Yeah, you pick. I'm good. Yeah.
Just to the end of June.
Yep.